Good afternoon, everyone. This is Tiffany Kinney with the Home-Based Professional Learning Team. We are welcoming you to the PMR webinar today. LaShawn Creech will be presenting today on the PMR. A few housekeeping things. In your handouts section, you will see the PMR presentation 2018-2019. It is already posted in the handout section, so that is for you to reference back to. Also, I want to do a quick sound check as well. We do have a lot of people listening in today, so we are going to hold off on questions towards the end and get to those. So we are waiting for some more to join, but we do have a lot of people coming on. If you will, please raise your hand if you can hear clearly. If you can hear my voice clearly, please raise your hand. All right. Thank you so much for raising your hand. And like I said, just you click on that little hand icon to raise your hand. We're going to put your hands down now. And let's also make sure you can see our screen. Right now, you should see the Principals Monthly Report PMR screen right now. So if you would please raise your hand if you can see the screen clearly. All right, thank you so much. I'm going to put those hands down. All right. So, and one other thing, as you have those questions, again, we'll reserve those to the end. However, if you want to, if you're thinking about something and want to submit those questions, please put them in the questions bar on the GoToWebinar, and we will come back to those as well. And let's see, perfect. So again, you submit your questions through there, and we will get to those in a little bit. All right, if there's no further questions, we're going to go ahead and get started. Take it away, LaShawn.
Thank you, Tiffany. Good afternoon to you all. Thank you for joining us this afternoon for the PMR overview. Again, my name is LaShawn Creech, and I am with the Division of School Business, Student Accounting. And I'll have my contact information at the end of this presentation if there are further questions regarding policy information. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. The PMR, your Principals Monthly Report, collects your school's enrollment and attendance data. The data that's collected produces four major parts: the average daily membership, which is also known as ADM, your average daily attendance, known as the ADA, your initial enrollment, that would be your E1s and your E2s, and your membership last day. This data is used for various requests and for various reasons. One of those reasons, or one of the main reasons, would include funding and also requests from agencies ranging from local, state, federal, and other independent agencies. Your membership students are the only students that are included in the PMR. So if you have any students that are tagged with an admission status of visitor, that student's information would not be calculated into the PMR. Your membership days for your ADM, the calculation for ADM is your membership days divided by the days in your school month, which is then rounded to the nearest whole number. Your average daily attendance is your days present for all students divided by the number of days in your school month. Your E1 and your E2 for your initial enrollment. Once the student is counted as an E1 or E2, at your school, then they will remain in that count for the entire year, regardless if they're withdrawn or whatever. They will remain in that E1 total throughout the year. So it's not reduced by your transfers or withdrawals. So naturally, at the end of the year, that E1 and E2 number will be higher than the actual students that you have at the end of the school year. Your school's ADM calculation is, so the ADM is broken down by grade level, and then for your entire school, you will get the sum of each of those grade levels for your ADM. A student must have a class schedule that is at least half the instructional day to be counted in the ADM. Otherwise, that student should be enrolled as a visitor. So attendance. Attendance must be taken every day. A student must be present in the school for the school day or at a place other than the school with approval from the appropriate school official for the purpose of attending an authorized school activity. Those authorized school activities could include field trips, athletic events, student conventions. To be counted present for the day, a student must be present at least 1/2 of the school's instructional day. Students not present on the first day of school are not considered enrolled. So if you have a student who has not E1 at your school for the first time this school year, then that student is not enrolled. The only exception to this rule is students who are hospital homebound or either the staggered kindergarten. And for the purposes of your ADM, so it won't be adversely affecting your ADM, staggered kindergarten only applies to the beginning of the school year. And those students will be E1 on day 1, and then you will count them present on the days that they're assigned to be at home. Your PMR is collected each school month. There are 9 intervals for your PMR, so there's 9 months that will be collected. When you're setting up your PMR intervals, your interval 1 and 2, or either your months 1 and 2, must be set as 20. So that means that you'll have 20 days in your months 1 and 2. Your months 3 through 9 can range from no less than 16 days and no more than 26 days. And the PMR intervals define your school months. The intervals, once the intervals are set, it actually looks at your school calendar and calculates the dates for your intervals based on your in-session days on your school calendar. Your submission, when you get to your state reporting dashboard, looking at your PMR reports, you will see submission start and end date. So your submission starts date, your submission window, I should say, would open the very next day after your month 1 or whatever month you're working with after that submission, after that interval ends. So the very next day will open your submission window, and then 7 instructional days later is when it will expire. Membership students in grades K through 13 are the only students that are reported. Visiting students are excluded. Your pre-K students are also excluded from your ADM and ADA. This next slide doesn't look like it's very clear. Is a screenshot of your PMR interval setup page. It was just pointing out there that this is where you would set your intervals. And again, months 1 and 2 would be at 20, and then no more than 16, no less than 16, and no more than 26 for your remaining months. If you do put a number in there that is outside of those ranges, then you will get a message and not be able to submit this screen. I did provide the navigation path of where you can set that up. The data flow for the PMR starts at the school level. The report is reviewed and approved at the school level and then submitted to the LEA level. Once it's approved at the LEA level, the data is then collected by our department, Student Accounting. So be sure that when you're running your report at the school level, that your principal reviews the report in its entirety. Print the report out. You want to make sure that they sign the report and keep a copy of it on file. If you need to make changes to your PMR, do so, and then run the report again for review, and then approve it when it's finalized. If changes are made after your PMR has expired, you can submit a ticket to the support desk to request to have that report reopened, because any changes you make are not going to be reflected in your data until it's run again, and then you can approve it. Enrollment codes. So we have several enrollment codes that are part of the PMR. We have our E1, which is our initial enrollment for this year. We have E2, initial enroll from a non-North Carolina school. Your R1 is for re-entry, which you would use in relation with a W1 if you had to withdraw a student for an internal reason. Transfer, R2, transfer within the same LEA. Your R3, transfer from another LEA. R5, re-enroll, previous W1. And R6, re-enroll, previous W2. Your enrollment code E1 is assigned to students who have not been enrolled in a public school in North Carolina or another state this school year. The initial entry is for this year. Non-public students in North Carolina or either from another state that are non-public students are also coded as E1 if they haven't been enrolled yet in a public school this year in North Carolina. Students with more than one E1 code will report as an error on the PMR. They can only have one initial entry code. They can't have an E1 and an E2. They can only have one or the other, and just one of each. Also, students who are in membership at more than one school at the same time will also show as an error on the PMR. Your E2 enrollment code is an initial entry, is assigned to students who are enrolling in a North Carolina public school for the first time. That means the student was previously enrolled in a public school in a different state this year. Students can't have no more than one E2 code. So that will also generate an error on the PMR. Your R1 is a re-entry code in relation to the previous internal, a previous internal W1. For example, you would use this if you have a student who was previously withdrawn and re-enrolled due to a grade level change. So it's kind of like an internal withdrawal. So you would do the W1, R1 function in PowerSchool for that student. The R2 enrollment code is a student's first enrollment in a specific school this year. So the student may have E1 at a previous school in North Carolina this year. So if they're, at a previous school, this is in the same LEA, I'm sorry. So they may have E1 at another school within your LEA, and then they're transferring to your school. So that is a previous enrollment in the same LEA. For charter schools, a charter school should be viewed as part of the LEA in which it's located. So students transferring from one charter school to another during the school year should be coded as R2 if both charters are within the same LEA. And if the charter, in whatever LEA the charter is in, then that same thing applies. If it's going from a charter to a LEA school, then it would be the student would be coded as R2. R3, is the student's first enrollment in this school this year. but it's referring to, R3 refers to the student is transferring from a school in a different LEA. And the same for charters would apply here too. If the charters are in different districts, then they would code them as a R3. R5, the student withdrew previously in the year as a W1 and has re-entered or re-enrolled in the same school this year. So that's a subsequent enrollment. The students coming back, they were there, they left, and they returned. Your R6 is for students who were previously a W2 withdrawal and then re-entered in the same school this year. So if they didn't finish, they left and they were coded as a W2 and then decided to come back to the same school, then you would code them as an R6. Withdrawal codes, you have your W1, which is a transfer withdrawal, your W2, early leaver withdrawal, your W2T is your community college adult high school withdrawal code, W3 is death, W4 is early completer or mid-year graduate, and W6 is your high school graduate. Your W1 means that the student withdrew for one of the following reasons, whether it was the example I previously discussed was for grade change, if they withdrew to go to another school or appropriate education program, or if they transferred out of state. You would use the W1 transfer withdrawal code. Your W2 early leaver withdrawal code would be for those students who are long-term suspended, dropped out, have been expelled. If they're enrolling into a community college program, then those students that are not completing their program or their high school, then they, or not really high school, but those students that are not completing the year would be coded as a W2, early leaver. Your W2T, the community college adult high school program, is for those students who withdrew and enrolled in the actual adult high school program at the community college. You must have written verification from the program verifying that the student has enrolled there. If the student was previously coded as a W2, once you have your verification, you can then change that code to reflect the W2T. And it will remain in effect until the student completes the program or the student leaves the adult high school program. And at that time, you would return the code to a W2. W4, early completer, mostly used for your mid-year graduates, means the student completed the year before the end of the school year as a mid-year graduate, or they received their diploma or certificate. So this W4 code is not to be used to show a promotion. Your W6 high school graduate is for your end of year completers. Those students that have completed their highest grade level, have completed their diploma program, those students would be coded as a W6. Your PMR reports are located in your PowerSchool instance in the state reporting dashboard. To get to those reports, you would navigate to your state reports. I have the navigation link there, but you would navigate to your state reports to get to your state reporting dashboard. Your PMR reports must be ran and approved at the school level and at the LEA level on or before the submission end date or your due date. So you have a submission window, so be very mindful of those dates. You want to make sure that you get those reports approved before the end of business on that due date. The reports can be run as soon as they are available. You don't have to wait for the submission window to open. However, you will not get an approve button. If you have no errors, you will not get an approve button until that submission window opens. But you're more than welcome to go ahead and run those reports at any time they're available in your instance. If you are reviewing your state reporting dashboard and you see that your report has only the run button there, and I thought I had a slide. What's the next slide? I thought I had a slide for that. Click again. There we go. My bad. So if you're reviewing your state reporting dashboard, just to give you an overview of what some of the buttons mean, if you have a run button and it's just a run button and there's no review button, that means you haven't run that report. So you can click that button, run the report. Once you run it, you can get your review button there. Clicking review will be able to give you access to review your errors. Once you have cleared your errors, your fatals, and run your report, then you can get an approve button. So you'll see that there next to your report in the state reporting dashboard. Tiffany, will you go back? Yeah. Yeah, that's the one. So the report's approval process. So first of all, you're going to run your report so you can generate data in that report. And then you're going to review it. After the report has been reviewed, then you want to make sure that you're reviewing it and that you are having your principal review it. If you need to make any changes, you're going to make the changes you need, rerun it, and review it again, and then approve it for final submission. You'll have, there are 3 different levels of exceptions. There's informational. You would need to review those exceptions and update if you need to. They're not required to approve the report. Your warnings, you need to review all of those and update where needed. And your fatals, you need to review those, update as required, and rerun. All of your fatal exceptions got to be fixed before you can approve your report. One other thing, this is a screen we were viewing previously. One other thing I will add to this is that your state reporting dashboard will show a current level of collections and an archive level. So once you're done with that PMR month 1 or 2 or whatever, then you click approve, that report moves to the archive section. If you're still within your submission window, you will have the option to unapprove it. The LEA level is pretty much the same layout. The only difference is the LEA includes a column that lists the number of schools that have collected or submitted their report at the LEA level. So it's pretty much the same layout. Also, there is this screenshot, and I apologize if these screenshots aren't very clear. From what I'm seeing, they don't look clear. They look great on the computer screen, but on this screen it looks terrible.
It should be fine in their presentation.
Okay.
I can see it okay.
Okay. So there is a drop down under your PMR report that gives you a status of the report, and it'll give you a last run date. It actually lists the date and the time. It'll also let you know if you are not able to approve the report or if there was an issue with approving the report, probably based on the fact that it has expired. And it'll probably tell you it can't run after a certain date. There's also a refresh button. It takes a while for some of the reports to generate, so you can refresh and you can set the refresh to different intervals. That's highlighted in the top right of that screen. Your PMR months revised. So your month 1 PMR as I mentioned earlier, when you generate that report, finalize it and approve it, the ADM from that report is attached to your funding. And what happens after that is if you make any changes, because we normally don't unapprove or unlock the month one. After that data has been approved and pulled, we try to not unlock it unless it's a really, really good reason to, because what happens is that number has been posted, it's been given out to allotments, and they are working with that number for your month one. So if you've made any changes when you run your month two, it will run a revised month one along with your month two, so you can use that for comparison. When you run your month nine, it kind of does the same thing. It runs a revised or final month 1 through 8 when running month nine. So any changes that you've made throughout the year will be picked up in the final month 9 for the PMR. That's all that I have for this presentation. I just want to stress that, you know, just be mindful of your submission dates. I think a lot of you know that it is a process to go through and get the PMR unlocked. There's a lot of steps that it has to go through. So just be mindful of those submission dates and just make note of them as they come available to you to make sure that you're getting those approved in a timely manner. The next slides is our contact information. The DPI communications are sent out to all districts weekly. If you want to subscribe, there's the email address there for NCSIS. Make sure you include your name and your contact information, your LEA. The next one is contact information for the support center. If you're having trouble running your PMR or resolving any issues, use your NCID to log into the support center and submit a help desk ticket for assistance. You can also send your policy questions to student accounting at dpi.nc.gov. I am included in that group, so you can send it there, or you can send it to my email, which is at the end of this slide. Yep, next one. Oh, wait, go back. I missed it. And resources, the SASA manual has been sent for posting. It should be up there by the end of the day today. I'm not the person who actually posts it to our website, but she does have it, and she's really good about getting things posted in a timely manner. So, but it is ready to be posted. It's been approved by the state board, so it is there on our Financial and Business Services website. It is also located on NCSIS, which actually points to our Financial and Business Services website. So it's out there for the 18-19 school year. Yay. On NCSIS, there is also recorded refreshers that are out there, and there's also QRDs that are available to you on NCSIS as well. And this is my contact email, lashawn.creech@dpi.nc.gov. And thank you very much for joining us. The last slides, all that I have left are the PMR exceptions, and I think there's about 6 or 7 of those. I think, yeah, there's about 6 or 7 pages of your PMR exceptions, and the business rules are attached there, and whatever steps you need to take to resolve any of those issues. And if there's anything that you find in these exceptions or in the SASA manual that is, you know, questionable, please feel free to email me or email student accounting. We'll take a look at it, and just, or if something is not clear, like, please send us an email. Okay, that's it.
All right. So, LaShawn, you know, we have a few questions coming in. I'm going to go back to just a...
That's why I put those in.
Yep. We have a few questions, and what I'm going to do is try to clump them together if they're same So if you guys will give me a minute just to go back, and LaShawn and I are going to go through and answer these. I will say that this session is being recorded. I failed to mention that earlier. So these, we will get this recording posted under recorded refreshers on the NCSIS website within the next couple of days. So this is being recorded and we will post this. All right, so I'm going to go back and let's see. All right. Okay. Let's see. One minute, you guys. We're reviewing these to see if we can answer some in a fell swoop. And you guys can go ahead and send in your questions. All right. Okay, so let's do this. If the principal is approving the reports in PowerSchool, should we still print and have them sign?
Yes, I would.
You would recommend that?
I
yes.
recommend that you are printing those reports for your principal to sign and keeping them on file for at least 5 years.
All right, thank you. All right. And I had a few people say they loved your notes. They would like your presentation with your notes.
Okay.
Okay. I did have a few people say, "Hey, I would love her notes on that." So we'll get that to you. All right. Maybe we can post that.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
We'll post that when we get the reporting. We'll get that posted. You'll make a lot of people happy. All right. All right. So they wanted some clarity. I had a few people to review the charter receiving a transfer from the public school in the same county regarding coding. We had a couple about that.
So the charter is receiving a student from the LEA?
So we had one review that a charter receiving a transfer from a public school in the same county. How would they code that?
That would be a student transfer from within the same LEA.
And I can go back to that too. And you guys, I'm typing while I'm going through this, so let me go back to those as we're answering.
That is the R2 entry code.
Uh-oh. All right. Tasha, is this the one you're talking about? So the student transfers, you're saying R2?
Mm-hmm.
So the question is students enrolling from a charter school, there's another question. Students enrolling from a charter school should have R2 codes, meaning the charter school is physically located in our county, but has its own LEA charter code. We've always been coding those students as a R3. So do we need to make this changes to go forward?
Going forward, R2. When she says charter LEA code?
Yeah, so, yeah, so it's its own, so it has its own charter code, meaning it's a...
They have a charter code,
yeah,
they're not...
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
going forward, they would use an R2.
Okay, Ms. Barnes,
I
did
wouldn't
you...
say they need to go back and change anything from previous years.
Okay, so, yeah, she just asked going forward, would they need to make sure they're using R3? Ms. Barnes, if you have any questions, please send those, or you need any clarification. All right. Any idea how we are going to have any idea if a student ends up leaving the adult high school program? And will the community colleges even share information of that nature with us? Do you have any personal experience with that, or?
They're supposed to get documentation from the community college. I don't have any personal experience with it, but they should provide them with the documentation they need to code that student properly.
From the community college?
From the community college. I wouldn't recommend coding a student as a W-2T unless they have written documentation.
I'm trying to write fast, you guys. W-2T, unless there. All right. Thank you. All right, you guys, thank you for being patient. We're still going through, so if you have any questions. Looks like we have a hurricane question. We updated our PMR-1 numbers due to the hurricane. When it was run the first time, we had taken out the hurricane days. After we were told we could use forgiven days, we put the days back in. Should we have PMR-1 rerun since we had a rerun in PMR-2?
Who was that?
That's from Marsha.
Marsha, if you could send me that question to my email,
okay,
and I can give you a more detailed answer. And I'll also answer it here on the spreadsheet. Will they have?
I can post. I can
okay.
post this, and we can enter whatever you need.
Okay, and then I'll reverse back and also answer it on the spreadsheet.
I can send you the spreadsheet, and you can answer. That's fine.
Yeah, it's kind of with the hurricane issue. You know, we have to consider everything on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, I can get you that.
Okay.
Okay. When students are suspended 365 days, when should the student have an E1 assignment?
So if they were suspended 365 days, it just depends on when their 365 days are up. If it rolls, I mean, I don't know as far as when, depending on the timing, when that student was suspended or expelled. But if you have a student that's out for 365 days and you're not supposed to allow them back in school until a certain amount of days have passed, then you would E1 them on their very first day they return if it's in a different school year, which I would think it would be because it's 100. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 3 days they return. Okay. All right. Okay. I see that PMR 26 seems to not have been resolved. Anytime R2, R3 is entered, a warning is produced. After checking the entry is correct. Any update when this will be resolved?
I do not have an update, but I can look into it and follow up. Is it a warning?
Entered, yes. Anytime an R2, R3 is entered, a warning is produced. Okay. Yep, she's going to look into that, Priscilla. Thank you for that question.
Yeah, I'll follow up and see if there are any power school cases that are currently out there in reference to that.
Okay. What if we have not been able to approve our PMR month 1 and 2 due to fatal errors? Have you submitted a ticket, Tina? Thank you. And just, okay, Tina has submitted a ticket. Tina, can you send us the ticket number? Thank you. All right. I'm going through these as quickly as I can, you guys. All right. Yes, we will get the presentation posted with the notes. So what we'll do is we'll post the recording. we'll post the presentation with the notes, and also we'll post the questions as, and that might take a little bit. LaShawn will have to go back through and look to see if anything was gone unanswered, or maybe she needs some more clarification on a specific question. But we'll make sure all this gets posted. All right. Let's see. Should the summary be printed and signed or detailed?
That is at your discretion. I recommend printing both. As a data manager, as a previous data manager, I always printed both. And I would have the principal sign and date the summary, and I attached it to the details. Because a lot of times you have your summary, you see your numbers, but you really need to see what actually is included in that number or in that figure.
All right. All right, we'll just repeat this. Did you say the new 18-19 Student Accounting Manual is posted?
It should be posted at some point today. The link has been sent up to our analyst who posts to our website. So she's very good about getting our information updated on our website. So on the Financial and Business Services website, under Student Accounting and Manuals, you can find the link, and it should be no later than tomorrow. Let's just say no later than tomorrow, close of business. And also it's on the NCSIS website.
Yep.
If you select it down at the bottom, select the SASA manual link, and then it will point you to the Financial and Business Services webpage.
Okay, and what we'll try to do, Justin is on the line too, we will get this, we can get this maybe highlighted in our weekly bulletin that the new SASA manual's been posted, and that's at the end of the week, so that'll give them time to post that. So that is coming. So, all right. Okay, give us 1 minute. All right, you guys, we do see several questions. Don't want you to think we're ignoring you. Connie, Karen, Miss Barnes, who else? Sheila. If you guys can, I know there's some clarity that needs around the R3 and R2. If you will email the student accounting email address, so we can get some more information and make sure that we're providing accurate information, but we will make sure that it's also on the spreadsheet of questions when we get that posted. I'm going to put that back up here, that email address, because I know that a few of you have some questions about the R2, R3. Okay. If you'll please do that for me.
And we can try to put that out on Friday also, along with the manual.
Okay, thank you. Yes, so that's Justin speaking. So he said that we can put that with the manual and the more information about the R2 and R3, kind of like you did with the SAR, you know, some clarity points. So we'll do that. Good idea. All right.
And we discussed the forgiven days. I don't mean to jump ahead, but
have we discussed forgiven days?
No, we have not discussed forgiven days. What about them, Justin?
well, I lost the question, but are the forgiven days supposed to be included in the PMR month 1?
That depends on how it's set up in the calendar, and I'm thinking right now they're not. Are they still set as weather closures?
Yeah, we've not given them any other guidance.
That's a discussion that we said we would have internally.
And LaShawn, I don't know if you heard, but heard LaShawn say this earlier, that she needs to review those case by case anyways and have the internal discussion so they could email with the hurricane, because we did have someone ask about that. So, all right. We do see some ticket numbers coming up that we'll make sure, especially with PMR 1 and 2, I've got a ticket number for that. Oh, and I did see, are the forgiven days supposed to be included? All right, so there's another one. So we'll have to follow up with that. Patricia, I see that as well. So here's a different question. If we send our ticket number, can you determine if and when the PMR 1 will be reopened? How long does that process take?
Well, it just depends on the reason for the PMR 1 to be opened. As I mentioned earlier, it's a case-by-case basis with the PMR being reopened, since with the exception of some of the LEAs that were affected by the hurricane, are delayed with their PMR reporting. All the others have been pulled according to their due dates.
Okay.
So the data's been pulled and it's been posted. So it just depends on what the reason is for the request to be unlocked, for the report to be unlocked.
All right. Is 1H still to be used to code doctor-ordered homebound students?
I would say that is a question that would need to come, that we would need to address in more detail and respond to in more detail, and not at this point. I just want to make sure I have all the information when I'm responding to a question of that nature.
Yeah.
And Priscilla, you had sent me another question along with that one after the meetup, and if you'll send that same one to LaShawn or to that email.
Yeah.
Okay. Forgiven days or not, shouldn't the month 1 and month 2 PMR comprise of 20 in-session school days?
Same thing. That's something that we'll have to.
Okay. Julie, they need to have an internal conversation with that, and that's why LaShawn has to address things on an individual basis. So if you have a concern, until we get that publicly posted, you can email LaShawn or the student accounting.
If you would, please
Student
send
accounting?
most of your emails
Okay.
to student accounting.
Okay.
We do have a new person on board, and we don't want LaShawn to get all the good questions. And we want to give her an opportunity to use that as a training tool as well.
And it's on your screen right now, the student accounting questions, and that is so everybody will get those from student accounting. So Julie, do that for us, please. All right. All right. So I'm just going back up. If you have any final questions, if you'll please go ahead and send those in. And we'll make sure these questions and answers get posted. I would say give us several days because there's a lot of questions coming in. And the webinar can be posted this week. I know we can get the webinar posted. Speaking of 1H, the codes in PowerSchool do not match what's in the accounting manual. Is that part of what's being updated? Do you know?
Being updated in PowerSchool? I would have to get more.
Do not match what's in the accounting. So the codes in PowerSchool don't match the accounting manual for the 1H.
I'll take a look at it
yeah.
and reply.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. Guys, we just have a few more minutes on the schedule, so I'm responding to some of you right now. Okay, there's the clarity on that one. All right. Okay. So we do have just a couple more minutes. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Send in your final questions. Again, policy questions, student accounting at dpi.nc.gov. If you have any errors in your PMR and you need help with those, they need to go to our support center and you log a ticket into the web portal. Okay. Type into a couple of you right now. All right. Okay, you guys, well, I think that wraps it up with the questions that we've seen. We do know we have some to follow up with, but we do appreciate your time and attention, and just give us a few days to get this posted, and there'll be some information in Friday's home-based weekly bulletin. We appreciate you, and thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and end this webinar.